Hi guys, I'm Desi and this is Bridging the Realm. Today I have a very special guest with me. His name is Jerome Headley and he's from Barbados. He is an energy worker and a clairvoyant who incorporates bioenergetic techniques to heal and empower people in reconnecting them with a divine soul blueprint. After working in the field for 8 years, he now focuses on teaching unity within the self, crystalline living, and anchoring the perfect self here on earth, something that he also refers to as journey to the crystalline line. I've been following Jerome for the last year or so, and I'm just absolutely astonished with the work that he does. I kind of see him as a mystery man because he's very mysterious as to how he does everything, but it's very powerful. And I can reassure you that this is going to be one interview you're not going to forget. So Jerome, welcome to Bridging the Realm. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you. It's amazing to be here.
How is it in Barbados?
Yeah, it's pretty good right now. The sun is out. We had a I guess like a slight maybe like a storm slightly just passed, but like the energy here is pretty good.
Potent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I guess in terms of like let me I guess I could get into the energy that we're actually experiencing here on the planet too. A lot of the consciousness that is coming into the planet now, or springing from within us is actually being activated now, right? So I kind of call it like a vacation energy.
Vacation energy.
Right? Like it has this kind of like anticipation or of something coming, right?
Okay, yes.
So for the most part here, I've been feeling that uh, coming up a lot more, right? So you would let me know if you probably feeling that in your area as well too.
Yeah, I've definitely felt, how do I say, like elevated in a way and sort of ungrounded. I feel like now I'm having to put a lot more effort into trying to ground myself and really, like, you know, going out in nature, trying to put my feet on the ground and just trying to bring my energy down because I feel like the energy is really high right now. And it's making me a little bit, it feels really good, but it's harder to focus, I find it. Because it's just like there's just so much going on and I've been feeling really sensitive to everything a lot more than kind of previously. So I feel like, yeah, it's interesting. It does feel like something's coming, like something's brewing under the surface.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the senses are being heightened right now as well,
Yeah.
because of the energy in the atmosphere. So a lot of people are experiencing a lot of like clairvoyant experiences, a lot of like body senses, uh,
Dreams, very
yeah,
pronounced dreams.
yeah,
Yeah.
heightened telepathic communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you explain this? Why is it happening and what's influencing us in this way?
Well, from my understanding, the energy or basically like photons, uh kind of like coming from both the sun and the cosmos as our planet and our solar system moves through, what scientists have noticed is like a cosmic cloud through
Yeah.
the galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of like beginning to like reawaken or activate certain frequencies within us that are actually allowing us to access higher connections to our DNA within our consciousness, right?
Yeah.
So what is happening is that we are beginning to come into the remembrance of who we are essentially, or who we used to be, right? And coming into who we truly are as activated humans on planet Earth, right?
Wow.
So
That's potent.
yeah, it's very interesting how we're actually experiencing a lot of the higher senses, the higher sensory perceptions, basically like clairvoyance, clairsentience. Some people again precognizant dreams, lucid dreams, astral projection.
Yeah. That's been a huge thing, actually. Yeah, I think a lot more people are getting into the whole astral projection stuff and
Right.
lucid dreaming. Yeah, it's
A
really,
lot of people are into like third eye and the pineal gland. A lot of these different techniques or activations are becoming a lot easier now as
mm,
we move more into the I guess you could call it the I call it the crystalline energy, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah. We'll
Christ
go into
energy.
detail of exactly what that means later, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's essentially what's going on. We're going through an ascension process or
Hmm.
an ascension cycle where we're entering into basically a new golden age,
Wow.
right? On planet Earth. So a lot of Earth changes are occurring now, as many are seeing right now, politically, uh, around the entire planet when it comes to like the weather and stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
environmental stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah.
Wow, that's yeah, that's I mean there's so much in there that we can literally pick out and speak about in more detail. But before we do that, let's
Yeah.
go back to the beginning and how you actually started doing this because I mean I know a little bit about your story, but I don't know the full extent to it. So I'm really interested to know how you got into this. So
All right.
were you born, were you able to see things from since you were young?
Uh, from my from my recollecting, around maybe when I was about 3 years old or so, right? But then through like programming, right? A lot of people lose a lot of their senses during the earlier stages of their life.
Yeah.
There are only like a few who actually still have their senses intact as
Yeah.
adults, right?
But
But most of us
socialization and
actually,
stuff. They got
yeah,
us.
most
Yeah.
of us actually disconnect from that part of self to
Mm,
either cope with the reality or however it may be as it manifests, right?
yeah.
But you may notice like a lot of children, if you observe children are actually able to like see spirits or they interact with their imagination like so much. It's the connection is a lot stronger than what we have, right?
Yeah.
So
Totally.
for me, yeah, growing up, I always kind of had like a I guess like a moral compass in terms of like good and bad and stuff, and um yeah, I always never really used to like I used to call myself an in-betweener. Like I wouldn't really be in particular crowds or groups, but I would be able to like mesh or mingle with everybody, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so while I was pursuing my associate's degree in civil engineering, I had a near-death experience where I was faced with an oncoming. Okay, so before that, I got like a intuitive sense of something was going to happen before, right? I was going to drive out of like a junction or like a crossroad, basically, right? And yeah, my senses were telling me to take a different route, right? But through the egoic sense and all that stuff, like I was like, nah, I'm gonna take the road.
You didn't listen to your senses.
I didn't listen to my intuition, and when I came out, there was a car coming like right at me, like
Oh,
full speed, right?
wow.
And I remember at that point, my mom was in the passenger seat, right, with me, and I remember at that time, like I literally just like I knew that was it for me, like that
Oh,
was it.
wow.
Like I literally like kind of like essentially like just in that moment is almost like you kind of like you accepted the fact that that was it, and I gave up my life to actually like be like almost like a human shield to protect my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least,
It
right?
was like an instant reaction, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
And I remember seeing like opening my eyes and I could see like the license plate from the car flying into our car in slow motion, right?
Wow.
And when everything like basically went back to normal in terms of like the time frame and stuff. Like I was perfectly okay, like not a scratch on me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the car basically hit like it would be like the column between the door and the wheel of the car,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that particular model of car that I was driving at the time was a Honda, I think a 1995 Accord that was decommissioned actually. That design actually had a steel bar in the door.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was unscratched, and from that experience, I started to trust my intuition. So like I learned that lesson. Like started
That
trusting
taught
my
you a good
intuition,
lesson. Oh,
right?
but wait. So, so you and your mom were completely fine.
Yeah,
Nothing,
we're
even though you should have
fine.
been like dead. That
Yeah,
was like fatal.
yeah, cause it's only recently now like I started getting more insights on that experience, right?
Mm.
In terms of like the timeline, it actually created a timeline shift where like there was an aspect of me that died,
Uh,
right? And so like after that experience, like I was a completely different person. It was almost as if like that part of my consciousness or my soul actually left or had its that was like its crossing point, right?
yeah.
And like a different or a higher aspect of myself came in. So like I was more intuitive, like my senses were a lot sharper. Like I had I had so much like faith, I guess you could call it. Like I would literally like if I was feeling like a voice, it was a feeling so strong within me. It was
Yeah.
like a voice. And if I was at a crossroads or like a a point to cross the road in between traffic, like if the voice told me, "Yo, you good,"
You
I could
listen to your
literally
senses
walk
now.
across. Yeah, I could literally walk across without looking, and it reminded me of like Spider-Man, Spider Senses,
Yeah.
with his right. So yeah, it was like a complete like inner knowing of different things, like certain information, certain awareness. Um, it was it was profound, and that went on for about I think about 5 months or so, right? The point where like I was on a construction site working for a year, and what happened was I lost my pair of headphones back then when they had the Blackberries and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, I was walking and my intuitive sense told me to like look down and start to dig in the sand, right? And my headphones were actually in the sand about a foot in the sand because they were buried
Oh,
by one of the tractors.
so that was
Yeah,
like your sense kicked in again, like, oh,
yeah,
look, your headphones are.
yeah. So after a while, I started to kind of like tune out of the sense because of I guess going back into the 3D realm or the mundane kind of living.
How old were you then?
Uh, I think it was about maybe like 19,
Okay.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And yeah, and so I lost the sense or it went back dormant within myself.
Yeah.
So that actually caused me to go on like a little journey of seeking to figure out what it was,
Yeah.
right?
Self-discovery.
Right. And then I I then went to Trinidad, right, doing a bachelor's in civil engineering now. And that in itself was an experience over there because the energy over there is a lot different from the energy on my island, right?
Yeah.
That energy over there I found was like I guess it has more magic. Like I don't that's the best way I could describe it. Um
You mean in Trinidad?
yeah, it kind of like it brings a kind of like energy of like inner like I guess teaching you about yourself in a different way, right?
Mm.
And I remember like skipping class one day, with a friend of mine who visited from Barbados into
Yeah.
Trinidad, and he introduced me to a crystal shop, basically, where I actually bought a crystal. I actually bought several crystals,
Was that your
right?
first time in a crystal shop?
Yeah, my first time. I remember like feeling this energy, like I could feel the energy from the crystals, and that was when the intuitive sense started to kick back in,
Ah,
right?
okay.
Because the crystals in themselves, the resonance from them was actually raising the frequency of my body, right?
Yeah.
Or bringing forth the sense from within again.
And you could feel that like straight away as soon as you walked into the crystal shop. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, when they open the cabinets, like they have cabinets, and you open the cabinets, and you could feel the energy just
Yeah.
pouring out.
Wow. Is it
Right?
quite easy for you to sense that? Do you sense it straight away? You don't, do you question like, where is this coming from? Or do you know straight away this is from the crystals?
Um, yeah. Before at first, I was questioning the the feeling, the sense, because I wasn't 100% sure what it was, and then the lady who sold the crystals she was saying, yeah, don't be careful not to stand in front of the cabinet too long,
Ah,
because the energy from the crystals could actually for some people it creates like a kind of like a I guess the energy is so potent it could like it some people actually feel kind of dizzy, or like they get like a purging going on, so they may feel emotional and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, and so I knew, yo, that those are the crystals that are actually doing that, and it started to bring forth that feeling again, that intuitive feeling, that clear sense, right?
Yeah.
And I I ended up buying about four crystals, and I essentially started to like feel the different types of crystals when you tap certain crystals. If you actually there's one tip you could actually try, like if you hold a crystal or any object, for example, you try to like kind of feel it without feeling it with your physical sense. It's like you're feeling it with your mind, or don't try not to focus on your physical sense.
Yeah.
You get me?
So try to feel with
Um,
your, yeah, other senses basically. Yeah.
right?
I have them
Because
right here, so I'm trying to do that now.
right. So that in itself was what I started to do in sensing different energies. I noticed before sensing like how I sense now, I had to actually like hold my breath and hold the crystal, right?
Yeah.
Just hold my breath so that like I don't feel anything disturb, like, right, in my body, and actually try to feel with my mind
Mm, yeah.
the object in my hand. And eventually I started to develop that sense while walking, right?
So
Over
you were
time.
just
So I would
becoming,
hold objects and I would walk and try to do it. And then I would do it in a vehicle. And so from there I started to like just, you would see me walking around in supermarkets and stuff, and I just feeling fruits and
really?
people looking at me like, yo, what's up with this guy?
Okay, so is that how you do your shopping? You kind of feel what's the healthiest fruit?
Yeah, I mean, it developed now more to like just knowing what is, what to get, or
How
what
can
not
you
to get.
how can
Huh?
you tell? How can you tell? So if you go into a shop, what's the feeling that you get from a good fruit compared to like a not so good fruit? Oh,
Okay, so depending on what you feel essentially within yourself. So again, another tip would be to kind of like feel into your physical body, right?
yeah.
Feel how your body feels. The best time to feel that is when you're just in the morning as you wake up. Like just tune into yourself. How do you feel, right? In that now moment,
Mm.
and you can ask yourself questions. You can ask or positive. You can try certain things. Positively think about certain things and feel how your body feels, and then maybe think of something negative and feel how your body feels when you think about that.
Yeah.
right?
So try to have the comparison to see what's
Right,
the difference. Yeah.
right.
Mm.
And then you can ask your consciousness, because your consciousness is like I see it like, if you've ever watched like Iron Man or something, it's like an AI. Basically, I call it the OI, the organic intelligence, right?
DIY.
It's like you can ask your OI, or your higher self, some people call it, certain questions, right? And tune into that same feeling of positive, negative, right? Or a up. Sometimes it's an up or a down, or it could be an expression, like an expansion or a
Yeah.
contraction,
Contraction. Yeah.
right?
Mm. Mm.
And that's how I started to actually tune in to that. So to kind of like, I guess, accelerate the whole thing, I went through a whole process of kind of like training myself, along with a friend of mine who actually woke up around the same time as I did as well. And we started kind of like practice like making like energy balls in our hands and stuff. Um, and that's where the whole thing with direction of energy came,
Yeah.
right? And eventually started to do a lot of research on stuff like philosophy. I got into a lot of the works of Bruce Lipton with DNA, right?
Mm.
Found out about DNA activations, ascension cycles.
Wow.
Uh, then I came across energy healing, right? The possibility of energy healing and directing energy to heal yourself and others,
Yeah.
right? And I actually got attuned to Reiki and shamanic rites, Peruvian shamanic rites in Trinidad, right?
Wow. That's
Yeah, the
awesome.
whole, so I basically went through like my, what people call the dark night of the soul and the awakening while I was over there simultaneously.
Yeah, that's
Right?
definitely what it sounds like. But I really like the fact that you combined like experimenting with it. So you weren't just reading about it, you were actually experimenting it with
Yeah,
yourself, trying to
yeah,
feel those energies, because I think that's what really makes the difference when you actually experience it for yourself. So really,
for
what was
sure.
it like when you were doing it with your friend? Because you said you guys he woke
Yeah.
up, he awoken around
Uh,
more or less the same time. So what was that like
yeah,
to
that was I mean, I'm pretty grateful for actually like not being alone through that whole process of interacting with energy and connecting to your higher senses and stuff. And yeah, like we would actually, we used to like practice like creating energetic structures within our hands. So like, for example, we started to realize that the imagination, right? If you can visualize really well, that's one of the secrets. The energy is directed by your thoughts, right? Your thoughts are linked to your imagination, visualization, right? Your body can't tell the difference really between this reality and your dreams or your imagination. It's all the same thing essentially, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And you can, through quantum physics, and they've already discovered the whole like holographic theory and stuff like that, right? The holographic universe. And essentially what we used to do is, thinking back on it now, we used to actually create thought form structures within our hand as like chi balls basically, right? And we would practice like throwing them back and forth at each other.
So playing ball, but only with energy balls, not
Right,
real balls. Wow.
right, right. And at time the energy dropped on the floor,
One of the
right?
energy balls dropped.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. And I remember feeling like a cool, it was like almost like air conditioned, like a cool energy on the floor.
Yeah.
And what happened was that because the energy was so high, people who were in the room started to get triggered.
Really?
Yeah, it
In
started to create
what
like a,
way?
yeah, it's similar to like the crystals as well, right? You
Yeah.
get exposed to too much energy, and that's what happened. That's what's happening right now as well, right? On the
Mm.
planet with the energy coming in, and it actually shakes up the cellular structure or the energy within the body, right? Which would be like body, and you can almost see it as like the unwanted stuff within our energy field is kind of like blowing off like steam,
Mm.
right? As it vaporizes, so it comes out
Yeah.
from within you, right? Those people call it like your shadows or right certain emotions that were repressed and stuff, and we started to notice that, and I took note of it because that
The
was
room.
that was
Yeah.
kind of odd at first, right? um
So that's in the room that you were in
yeah,
when you
we
dropped
were
that.
we were actually like basically chilling with some friends, but we were so comfortable with actually like creating it. We would actually kind of like just
Well, people
um,
not like looking at you thinking like, "Well, what are you doing?"
a few times they have. uh,
So what did
yeah,
you notice in people's just how did they react? What happened? Did they get angry or did someone start saying things? You know, what was their reaction? Was it just
um,
more energetical and you could
yeah,
just
they would become more energetic, like talking. It it would manifest in different ways. So like I remember when that happened, um, like it was interesting to actually notice how like an argument kind of like broke out between two people who thinking back on it now you could actually sense the energy kind of like building. So I guess like that addition to the energy being available at that time kind of like sparked it off.
um,
Yeah.
yeah.
um and everything essentially is energy within the reality. The reality in itself, which I've started to understand through the last year or so, um, everything within this physical reality has an energetic correspondent, right? The energy comes first or is created first, and then the physical form takes shape, right?
So it's literally
Um,
manifesting from the non-physical reality.
yeah, into physical reality. You understand? So, uh, for example, like the wind is an energy, right?
Yeah.
If you think, um, hmm, a lot of people actually, there are some people who are known to actually, uh, through their thoughts, actually move, for example, like clouds or the wind, right? As crazy as that sounds, right?
Wait, say
Or
that again. There's some people that what?
some people are able to actually like move. If you, yeah, that's another technique or exercise you can actually try, right? Uh, this actually helps you to kind of like understand manifestation and how it works,
Yeah.
right? Our manifestations actually, from what I have started to notice, our manifestations work through our emotions and our thoughts combined, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Emotions.
when we actually combine say a visualization with an emotion, and for example you add certain like sounds. So for example, like you're looking at the cloud, you can actually kind of like see or visualize the cloud disappearing,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And actually have a feeling or a sense of anticipation within your emotions of this cloud disappearing or evaporating.
Okay. So attach the emotional, like the
Right.
emotion to it. Yeah.
To the
Mm-hmm.
visualization.
Mm-hmm.
There are countless videos on YouTube about it. Cloud busting, they call it.
Really? Oh, I've
Yeah.
never seen any.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a form of what they call telekinesis.
Ah, moving things, moving objects with your
Right.
thoughts. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, there are countless videos on it of all of that. Right.
I shall
Yeah.
try that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, that in itself in the deeper sense of it is the ability for us to actually manifest our external reality as it is, right? So another one of the deeper keys to manifestation is the understanding that the present reality that we exist in now, right,
Yeah.
was sprung forth from a previous thought and emotion that we held in a past now moment.
Okay. Yeah. So that past moment was the creation of what's happening right now. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm
Right.
with you.
So in order to hold, or no, in order to manifest a desired manifestation in the future now moment, you have to hold that feeling now,
As
right?
in what you want to create, you need to try to imagine it and try
Yeah.
to feel into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's why
think,
some people say fake it till you make it, or you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like just feel that sense, feel and hold it. Like uh don't hold on to the expectation, just hold on to the end result and the feeling, the anticipation, the knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so key. I found that as well, that imagination, because like the whole law of attraction kind of thing, people are like, oh yeah, just think positive thoughts and just, but that's not enough, at least from what I found. You have
Yeah,
to literally feel into that feeling of having that thing that you want to have, or being in that state that you want to be in. So it's
yeah,
like imagination combined with feeling or emotion.
yeah,
'Cause- yeah.
because essentially uh yeah, essentially from what I have been learning as well from within self through different experiences, our our visualization has a lot of sway in the reality. It's almost as if we kind of like quantum jump into different realms or existences, right?
Yeah.
Because everything exists in like a multi-dimensional or multi-universal way, right?
Yeah.
You have a version of you that is probably on every continent on this planet, right?
Yeah.
Simultaneously right now.
Yeah. So do you think we're constantly jumping from like one dimension to another, or one version of your
Yeah,
reality?
I yeah, I feel yes that we constantly jump into different realities when we have certain ideas, or we visualize certain things, or we hold certain feelings and emotions. We actually kind of like jump in increments, all constantly, just constantly like clipping into different realities all the time, right?
Yeah. Mm.
And in order to kind of like clip into a reality that you may desire, it is always beneficial to actually kind of like feel and see that. But there is as well, we can't really deny it, that within our subconscious there are programs within our subconscious that actually kind of like make those choices for us as well, in a
Mm.
way, right?
Good programs or bad programs?
Right, yeah. Undesirable programs that are, I guess, old in their way of forming within your subconscious.
Are you talking about ancestral patterns and stuff,
Yeah, it could be all of that.
as well
Uh,
as others?
yeah, ancestral, past life, any like even
Right.
now, like with television and stuff, like a lot of the programming that is fed to people is basically like injecting within their reality or within their world another reality essentially,
Hmm.
right?
I was reading about that somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of puzzles me, but I do get. So would you? Yeah, I kind of understand what you mean, but can you elaborate on that?
Right. So let me see if I can find an example. Yeah, this concept, this concept took me for a loop like 2 years ago, yo. Okay, so if you kind of like visualize it like this, each of us, right, walking around are like world bubbles, or like bubbles of of individual worlds, and our worlds are so similar that they overlap with each other, and there isn't much change to that world essentially for all of us as a collective, right? So
Yeah.
we're basically in like a collective bubble, or like a hologram or a
Yeah.
dream,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything except maybe our own personal experiences, or perceptions of certain things in the world would be different. So some person who sees like this cup here, right? One person would see it as blue, another person would see it as purple, right? Somebody
Yeah.
would see this as red,
So it
right?
depends on your personal
That would be
perspective.
there. That would be the differences in our world, or our reality,
Yeah.
right? So when you have something like, for example, like uh maybe like a movie, for example, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what's the best example of a movie for
Star
that.
Trek.
Star Trek, right? Yeah. Or maybe, let me see. I guess like for example, like well, yeah, let's go with Star Trek. So certain things within these shows or these movies would actually kind of like bring our consciousness to uh a certain, I guess, level of like thinking,
Mm.
right? Depending on your level of consciousness, some people may actually be able to like decipher positive programming within these shows,
Yeah.
but there are also like negative programs or beliefs. So
Yeah. I think Star Trek is more of a positive one, isn't it?
right,
'Cause it's
right.
mind
But one,
expanding.
one of the one of the negative beliefs, or the undesirable programs within our reality is, for example, like the whole thing with lack,
Mm.
right? Right.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of people have a lack mentality, or what some people call the lack matrix. It kind of locks us into this kind of like uh, programming of not living in an abundant universe. The universe not providing for us in certain ways, and we gotta like fight or work hard for certain
Yeah.
things to get certain
Yeah.
stuff. But if you look at nature itself, like you see birds would find a fruit on a tree, hundreds and thousands of like just all these different fruits, and they would just eat one fruit, and this fruit is bigger than them. You get what I mean? Like they always have, they're always provided for. Like, see how many fish are in the sea, and how many birds in the sky, and like I'm sure none of them go hungry. Well, right?
Yeah.
In a balanced
It's balanced. Yeah.
natural environment, right? Um, and we have this ability as well to be provided for within the universe,
Mm.
but through a programming of maybe, for example, yeah, like lack.
Yeah.
Like we actually kind of align into a reality where that is supported, where lack is an existent reality for a lot of people.
So we're like literally buying into this reality and we assume that this is just how it is.
Yeah, so you get locked into that particular reality,
Mm. It
right?
makes sense, yeah, because especially from when you're young, I mean, the only way you can know about the world, unless you've traveled it yourself, and at that age you haven't, is through television and,
Yeah.
you know, obviously like books and stuff like that, but mostly television.
Mm.
So that's how you form your perception of what reality is like outside of your
Where,
environment.
whereas you may travel to these places and it may be a completely different perception.
And it normally is, yeah. Like that's where you meet, that's where you get with a lot of travelers I've seen, especially when I traveled, and you meet
Mm.
so many people and they're kind of like, yeah, this, like I thought this country was completely different to what it actually is, and then they're
Right.
just surprised at how different it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can definitely see that, how that
Right.
works.
So So again, it kind of like locks us into certain just like slight realities that exist similarly to the one we exist in now. For example, the Mandela effect. That's another one to like look up on, right?
Yeah, that's been talked
Both
about.
of
Yeah.
them.
How do you explain the Mandela effect?
Uh Again, I think the Mandela effect is, it kind of like shows the evidence of us actually transitioning into another reality, into another, basically a time zone,
Yeah.
or a similar Earth. So say we were in Earth like 5569, we're in Earth like 634 or something like that, right? We're in a completely different Earth, but very similar to the one we previously existed in.
Yeah. And you're referring to an energetical Earth, right? Like a different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I
Right.
know some people might be like, what? Okay.
So, yeah, because it's essentially like if people are familiar with like a multiverse or
Yeah.
um,
Which is, I think, scientifically, well, it's not proven, but there's definitely a lot of
yeah,
scientific
they,
evidence.
they started
It's proven.
yeah, having experiments and research being done on multiple realities, for
Yeah.
example, and quantum physics even kind of like breaks that down to a
Mm,
degree as well, right?
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, the whole thing, but science kind of still catching up, because a lot of the ancients believed in a lot of these different worlds as well, right? The Egyptians and a lot of
Yeah.
different cultures like Sumerians and right.
Yeah. They were way
So
more advanced than us in
right.
that respect. Yeah.
So the Mandela effect, essentially, if for example you look at like Frosted Flakes, uh, Tony the Tiger, his nose, I think it used to be black, but now it's blue. Like from the first Tony the Tiger image, if you check it, like it's blue.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
but isn't that, wouldn't you just refer to that as like rebranding?
Right, but if you like, for example, vapor rub or vapor rub, which is Vicks,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That Mandela effect changed to vapor rub,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So it was Vicks
So
originally.
instead of vapor is VAPO.
Oh, okay. What was it originally?
It was originally vapor, VAPOUR, vapor rub, right? And when I checked, actually, when I went with my grandparents who had an old bottle of Vicks, right?
Yeah.
A very old bottle. It's expired and everything,
Yeah.
right? It
Like an
had,
old one.
yeah, it had vapor rub on it,
Okay.
which
And
means
now it's
that,
vapor.
yeah, the timeline changed and it changed everything. So well, essentially it wasn't a rebranding, because that was those stuff, right? Was there for a while, like it was old.
Yeah. So now
So
when you look it up, it just says vapor.
yeah, vapor, yeah.
Yeah. I think they said oh, who was with the president who died, and some people thought that he died, Nelson Mandela.
Yes.
Yeah. So some
Yeah,
people said that he died in prison, and others said that he died after he got out.
you're right.
Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So different people have certain memories of certain things. Other people have other memories of a different time.
Yeah.
So
God, that's all
it's
just,
kind of strange. It's kind of strange, but it's very
it's just like a
very
mind
interesting.
fuck.
Yeah,
Oh God, yeah. I think, I mean, yeah, there's so much we can go into this,
yeah,
but I think that's probably, we can leave that for another chat.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a mind puzzle, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So um so you've been doing this diet recently, well, for the past like year, I think, or so?
Oh, it hasn't been that long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know,
think
I think so.
yeah, more than 6 months, right? Since we met, I think I've been on several of them, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Uh,
mentioned you were on a quite, so what was the main reason behind it? Why did you
okay,
start doing
so essentially the main reason behind it, um, was to actually kind of like lighten the body for the photonic light activations that were coming into the planet.
Okay. And by that, you mean the energy coming from the sun?
From the
Yeah.
sun
Okay.
and the cosmos
Just to
and
simplify it.
right.
Okay.
And that once you actually clear your body, like physically, emotionally, mentally, you actually kind of like it kind of like assists you with like stabilizing through these different shifts. So you don't really experience a lot of the physical aches and pains as like some people may experience during solar flares and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I've noticed recently a lot of people actually are commenting about the different energies that are coming in affecting them physically on a physical level, right?
Mm.
Aches and pains when they wake up, feeling foggy and groggy, right? Muscle soreness,
Yeah.
right? This is some of the ascension symptoms,
Yeah.
right? Or expressions. Uh, and a few ways to actually reduce that, like the expressions or the symptoms are to actually eat lighter foods, essentially more live foods that have more energy within them, like vegetables, drinking a lot of water, right? Taking in a lot of these superfoods like spirulina, chlorella, uh, wheatgrass is pretty good, chia seeds, right? Taking in these minerals, these nutrients, these foods actually assist the body
Yeah. So like really
in
organic, natural stuff, basically.
organic and natural, yeah. Staying away from
So is this
any of the stuff.
So is this because we're kind of, like you were saying before, we're going through this process of ascension, and
Mm-hmm.
in order to do that, we have to first of all clear out all the old shit,
Right.
basically. So you're
Basically.
trying to get physically on a physical level. So you're doing that through diet, through good food, so getting all the toxins out, but also on an emotional and a mental level by trying to reprogram your negative programs, basically
Right.
the things that are
So,
stopping you.
so that's some of the stuff that I do in my energy sessions, for
Yeah.
example.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
I clear a lot of the like the energy that is stuck within the right, the energetic body and the physical body, which
Yeah.
also assists with clearing the emotional and the mental body, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, I noticed you actually get like a physical response of clearing or purging physically as well, right? But you can also assist the body in cleaning out the system through using different herbs, different foods, which would actually help the physical body
Yeah.
to clear out itself, allowing you to actually activate more of the spiritual senses as well, because they are linked to what I have begun to find out from the beginning of this year. I started to do a lot of research into like the gut microbiome and the connection between the gut and the brain,
Yeah.
right?
Mm. And you
And
found out some pretty interesting information
yeah,
on that, which I want you to share if you can.
and
Mm.
so this how this came about was through me having food allergies, right? I had a
Which
lot of
so many people have. Oh my
yeah,
God. Yeah.
right. I had food allergies, allergic to like gluten, uh, all this, everything, wheat, everything, right? And I started to do some research on it and found out about glyphosate, right?
Glyphosate. Okay.
Which is like what they found in like Roundup,
In?
basically. Roundup, I think, is like a pesticide,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, and through my research, it kind of led to like a lot of different things, like the pesticides in like certain foods and certain things that we take in or ingest into our bodies actually damage our gut microbiome, right? Which
Mm.
are like a series of like different bacteria existing within the body,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we actually are depleted in our gut microbiome, it causes a whole process of, because our gut microbiome actually is like the protective shield or the sheath, kind of like preventing certain objects or certain things from entering our bloodstream. So when our bodies are stripped of those essential bacteria, those beneficial bacteria, our systems are left open, right? Which spiritually, from what I've been seeing clairvoyantly, actually kind of like leaves our energy body or the auric field, our aura, exposed to different energies that
All
are,
types of things.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So essentially it leaves us, yeah, open to like a lot of like negative energies and stuff. And like I noticed like scientists actually found out that, yeah, that it's actually the gut diversity is linked to depression and certain other like mental,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Because they call it
emotional,
the second brain, right? They call the gut the second brain.
yeah,
So it makes sense that yeah.
right, and it links to like things like anxiety, for example.
Yeah.
A lot of the autoimmune diseases that people have,
Mm.
uh I guess like see like different things, like I think lupus is one that they found out too, has a connection to the microbiome diversity, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And yeah, I started to dive deep into that stuff.
You were
Somebody,
doing all this research basically, and then you were
yeah.
trying it out for yourself.
So for example, like stress, I have it written here actually.
Go on, tell us.
So leaky gut. Okay, so one of the most common ailments that people have in the gut is something called leaky gut,
Yeah.
which is actually, yeah, like the gut permeability, which is like certain food particles actually entering the gut or the bloodstream,
Yeah.
basically. And a lot of that is linked to us not being able to break down certain foods efficiently
Mm.
because of, for example, stress, or maybe you're not breathing deeply, so not breathing into the stomach, for example,
Yeah,
right?
which a lot of people can't
Right.
do.
A lot of
Yeah.
people shallow breathe into the chest
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
breathing into the stomach, which babies do, right? Breathing into their bellies.
Yeah.
And that deep breathing actually activates or stimulates the vagus nerve, right? Which actually reduces stress.
Ah, okay,
It's
okay.
basically a part of the nervous system connected to the gut, connecting the gut to the brain,
Yeah.
essentially, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
Um,
So that's why when you breathe shallow, you get really anxious because that part is
right.
not connecting. Yeah.
Not stimulating it, yeah.
Mm.
So that actually reduces a lot of the stress within the system. And then I have here the stress now weakens the system, including the stomach acids within your stomach. So then you're not able to break down certain foods,
Yeah.
right? And then you have larger particles of food within your system, which then kind of like stays there and it rots and produces ammonia and different gases, which then go into the blood system or the bloodstream, right?
And they're like toxins now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
right. So, and then you have the glyphosate or like the gluten, and yeah, and then you basically get like an overgrowth of certain bacteria that you don't necessarily need overgrowing, like candida,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
then that creates a whole, right?
An
You have
area of, yeah, just problems.
so certain things, like for example, what I've been researching, like I think like breast cancer, for example, is like a bacterial overgrowth as well, because a
Mm.
lot of bacteria actually get into like the lymphatic system, and
Yeah.
right. So I actually, through my whole research of all that, I started to go into how the process of actually clearing out a lot of this stuff out of the system, right? Rebuilding from the ground up. So I had to actually start, I had to cut everything out that I was eating, right? And basically eat like a baby for
Really?
like for a couple of weeks. Yeah. Like eating
Wow.
like
That must have been so
pre-digest.
hard.
Yeah. Eating like just drinking smoothies and eating soup, right? A
Wow.
lot of like pre-digest foods basically to allow the body to actually, you're basically helping the body to break down the foods. So a lot of people, again, don't really chew properly.
Mm,
So they say that a lot of diseases start from the gut, and some people actually
mm.
believe that a lot of diseases start from within the mouth,
Yeah.
from not chewing properly, and the certain enzymes, not allowing certain enzymes and bacteria within the mouth to actually do their thing before you
Mm.
actually ingest the food.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. And I think also combining specific foods and combining certain types of foods is not very good because God, I remember reading about it. It says something like, yeah, the specific type of enzymes in the mouth that break down that food, but then if you've combined it with the other type of food, it doesn't break it down. So yeah, so that means either one type of food is broken down or the other, not both, because both just don't go together really well. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think it's something like if you eat proteins with so it was if you mix the rice with meat, for example, so that's
Right.
not good because
Right.
it's
And
starch.
one would break down and the other wouldn't, and then the rice would
Exactly.
stain and turn into like alcohol, for example. And
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So
and you shouldn't mix fruit with any type of other food. Like fruit should
right,
always be eaten on its own before the main meal. And people normally here they eat it after the main meal. That's like the worst thing you can do, right?
right. Yeah. So that's our whole, in order to actually like change, like actually change, we gotta like change the entire programming in terms of like how we eat and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Like all of it is actually compromising the energetic system of the body, right?
Yeah.
And creating a lot of like mucus,
Mm.
inflammation, which then creates a whole set of other problems,
Yeah.
right?
So it literally translates. So if your physical is not really on point, it straight away translates into the emotional and the
Right,
mental, right?
right. So it kind of like back feeds into those
Yeah,
areas
the
as well,
levels. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I wouldn't, so there is a link too that I kind of started making with my, when I did a lot of energy work, right? On um on myself, for example, during the whole cleanse, and even on people, I would notice like when you actually, I would clairvoyantly see like certain implants, for example, right?
What do you mean by that?
So these, so clairvoyantly, these would be like thought forms, for example, like yeah, like negative thought forms that would take shape as like devices, which would kind of like attach themselves to your like body, right? Or your
Okay.
emotional body, mental body, and they would create certain like responses, electrical responses within your body. So like for example, certain implants would create a series of like depression, for example, right? Or like certain thoughts would arise within your consciousness,
That
right?
are not actually yours. They're coming from
Right,
this, from this
right,
energetic
right,
attachment. Okay.
right, right. And I would notice when I actually clear some of these implants from people, right? And as they dissolve, the person would then report to me that they had like a physical clearing as well,
So
right?
it's
So
automatically translates to the
so
others.
they may experience like an increase in like bowel movement, or like you might get like sinus clearing,
Yeah.
uh, right?
Mm.
Some may experience emotional clearing, for example, like crying, for example, is a
Like that
huge,
release. Yeah.
yeah, huge heart expansion thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I noticed that there is some kind of link to even like these bacteria, these parasites, and these different these different bacteria within the body. For example, like I had an experience with actually interacting with, I think they call it H. pylori, which is a bacteria which actually like eats the stomach lining,
Oh wow.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Where does that is it within foods? Found in foods? Or
I think people, let me see, I may have it in my notes. I don't know. Um, yeah, I think a lot of people. Yeah, I actually don't have the background for the H. pylori, but I have here that I saw what I saw within one client was this kind of like a almost like the only way I could describe it is like an entity, right? Like kind
yeah,
of like biting, look like a shark, right?
really like an energetic
Yeah,
shock. Okay.
biting at their energetic center, which is their solar plexus,
Wow. Okay.
right? Just chomping away. And within the mental space, that can be seen as like maybe somebody like undermining your willpower or something like that, right? Which would
Yeah.
then trickle down and give you that feeling of being like, um, you know,
Disempowered also.
right, disempowerment and stuff like that, which would create like an energy siphon or like weaken you, right?
Yeah.
And with the weakening of your your willpower basically, which they found too that like most of your immune system, like 80% of your immune system is in your gut, which
Mm.
again shows you that our gut is primarily like connected to our energetic shield and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
I started to make the connection between our energetic shield, which protects us from certain energies,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Negative energies as such, right?
Mm.
Connected to the gut, right?
That makes a lot of sense. Even in like Chinese medicine and stuff, they always say like the chi is contained
Yeah,
in that area in the gut, pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah. So that
So,
makes
so I
sense.
noticed like this thing was just chomping away, and it was like a year, I think, maybe like almost a year later, because I had no idea what it was. Like, I cleared it, and they told me later on that doctors couldn't figure out like what was going on with them, like
They
what,
couldn't. They didn't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And they told me later on that the doctors then found they noticed that it was H. pylori.
Oh, that bacteria.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
And then when I researched it, it it had basically, it was doing the same thing that I saw as the thought form.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
So you saw
So
the energetic
the energetic correspondent or
correspondent
component
of that.
of
Yeah.
it, right?
Oh, wow. So
So
what were their symptoms? What did they experience?
um it would kind of like, because the I think the bacteria actually weakens in order for it to like live in your stomach. It has to weaken. It actually manipulates your ability to produce hydrochloric acid, right?
Yeah.
So it
Okay.
weakens the stomach acid, so it makes an environment conducive for that bacteria to live,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So when your stomach acid is low, a lot of people experience like acid reflux and different types of stuff like that.
Yeah.
You may experience like bloating,
Mm. Okay.
because again the body isn't breaking down certain foods. So when it gets into the small intestines now, the body has to produce mucus,
Yeah.
right? Which
Mhm.
is an excessive amount of inflammation in the system, which then creates like things like arthritis and all that kind of stuff. So
Linked to so much. Yeah.
yeah, right. So through my own kind of like making certain connections, I started to notice like I would see clairvoyantly. When I scan people, I would notice certain things like inflammation, for example, would be clairvoyantly for me. The body would be on fire.
Really? The
Yeah.
body, your body or their body would feel.
Person, yeah, when I'm scanning them, when I'm seeing them clairvoyantly, their
Yeah.
body would be on fire, or certain joints in
Ah,
flames.
so that's where the problem areas are. Is that
Yeah,
what?
that would represent inflammation, or being inflamed, basically. So the pain, joint pain and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there is from my personal experience, I noticed that there is a connection between certain bacteria overgrowing and what some would consider parasitic infestations,
Yeah.
right?
Depends who you speak to, I guess.
Huh?
Depends who you speak to,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
they're more into this stuff or not. But yeah, that
I
makes sense.
mean, on a physical level, it would be that as well, overgrowing
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
bacteria,
So essentially
right?
parasites, whether they're physical or energetic, they're parasites. Yeah.
Right, yeah. They would exist simultaneously,
Yeah.
right? Anything that exists within the spiritual realm,
Yeah. But I
right?
think, I think from what I've seen, the energetic parasites are more dangerous, right? Because you can't detect them. Well, you can, but doctors can't. So,
Well, the thing is too, I noticed that the physical parasites, some of them hide as well, same as the energetic parasites,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, because I noticed that some of the energetic parasites would cloak themselves, so you wouldn't be able to see them either,
Yeah.
right?
God, they're so smart.
Yeah, because they're a level of consciousness too that, yeah, they're pretty intelligent.
Yeah.
Pretty intelligent.
They're
I
also
think,
expanding, aren't they? They're also expanding in
yeah,
consciousness
they learn and
as
grow.
we are.
They send signals. The physical parasites send signals to your brain telling you to eat certain things.
God.
And send you signals to make you feel hungry for certain things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And again, I
And
think it's so important. That's why it's so important for us to have this self-awareness, isn't it? Because if you don't know what's really coming from you, what's your thoughts, then you're fucked
exactly.
basically, because
And
these things
the
can.
thing is, they and these are still the physical parasites, that I'm referring to. Um, they say that some of them, I think the tapeworm, for example, I could be wrong, but I think that, and I think a few others actually mimic your voice in your head,
Wow.
sound like you,
So they're
sending
like
signals to your brain. Mm.
telling you, I want to eat.
Right? Yeah,
They're mimicking you. So they're saying, I want to eat ice
yeah,
cream or chocolate.
yeah. Because I remember when I was doing because I did because I never did um the the physical cleanse. I wanted to like kind of like see what would happen, right? Uh, for example, like candida. I think candida sends signals to our brain same as the other stuff, right? And a lot of people have candida overgrowth.
Is that one of the most common ones you found?
Yeah, I know this is one of the most common ones.
Okay.
And I started taking a tincture of black walnut, wormwood, and clove. And 3 days into that cleanse, I started to hear um like I guess I could feel the energy or the consciousness from the candida itself, or from, yeah,
Oh,
right, the overgrow, the bacteria.
mm.
And I remember hearing like a noticeable audible voice like saying, yo, like, stop this right now. and and when I actually I just ignored it and I drank the tincture. And I remember like feeling like this feeling of like something like shaking off
Really? In your stomach?
energetically, yeah, and it just pop off. And like from there, like my mind was like sound, like
Just
information started to like come to my consciousness like
straight
quick,
away.
straight away,
Wow.
right?
That's
Because I
powerful.
think they actually kind of like create like a film within your
Yeah.
gut, basically. I think they call it biofilm, which kind of like blocks your, because the bacteria live in these like little cities, basically biofilm. And it blocks your senses between your gut and your brain, right?
Okay. So
And
that's why, yeah.
our bodies actually hold a lot of our senses, or the ability for us to actually feel intuitively, right? That's why people call it your gut feelings. You feel something in your gut. Your gut is telling you not to do this or do
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of us have lost that connection between
Mm.
the gut and the brain. I believe there's an agenda to actually stop us from intuitively sensing certain things. Because then you would be able to, if you were able to tap into your intuition, you're able to sense the bullshit that's going on in society, right? Straight
Exactly.
away. And you
Yeah.
hear somebody saying something, is like, yeah, call bullshit on that. So they try to like mess with your bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've definitely noticed that when I eat unhealthy, my thinking is a lot more foggy, like foggier. You know, I can't seem to think as quick. And I
Yeah.
think the most noticeable, like the most noticeable time I had that was when I went traveling for like 3 months. You know, I went out and obviously I was around nature a lot. I barely watched TV. I didn't watch TV at all. You know, I was kind of like out of that program, you know, and I ate really healthy. I ate because I was in South America. So I ate like a lot of fish and, you know, things like that. And I remember just everything just became so clear. Everything was so clear in my head. I could just think, you know, my thoughts were coming in really clearly and there was no fog. Everything was just so much different. And then I noticed it the minute, literally within the first 2 weeks of when I got back and got back into that same old routine. Oh my God, straight away, I went into depression. I went into like this fogginess. I couldn't
Yeah,
sleep.
you feel it like
It's weighing
just
you down. Yeah, it is. It's literally
yeah.
just like a blanket of just darkness that
Yeah.
just comes over you.
It's like when when our physical bodies get light, it's like you're able to like just like poke your head out to whatever it is, like whatever sludge the energy is or whatever it is, you're able to like come out and come to the surface. Your clarity is, yeah, I know exactly what you mean, right?
God, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: as a clairvoyant, and obviously so all the energy work that you do with people, how do you do it? So how do you kind of, what happens when you tune into someone? Like, talk me through it. What happens?
Uh, right. So essentially, what I do and what I've been noticing more, because it's an ongoing process of learning about yourself, right? I actually kind of like tune into your body's or your consciousness operating system, basically, right? So, well, what people would consider like what I call like an operating system. So it's like the deeper programs that actually like run certain parts of your essence, basically your expression of self and stuff like that. I tune into like the chakras, which are the energy centers within your body, right?
Mm, yeah,
Which channel the divine essence from higher dimensions into this physical reality,
yeah,
right? So I'm able to feel into deeper emotions within self through the clairsentient ability that I have. So I would actually feel certain emotions
yeah,
that are repressed or held down, held within, that may be creating certain blocks within the body,
yeah.
which then trickle into creating a disease,
Mm.
right, of energy.
Like on a physical level.
Yeah, on the physical level,
Yeah.
right? Because that would be considered like the last stage of the physical. It would either manifest as an outward situation
Yeah.
or a physical disease within the body.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way we put it, it would then be something we have to, once we resolve it, whether it be healing the disease within the body or resolving the situation externally, it would clear the karma, basically,
Yeah. Mm.
right? But you can also clear the karma through energy
Yeah.
first, right? So that's what I do. I actually assist with clearing certain energies that would be manifesting or forming within the consciousness,
Mm.
and basically like assist with intercepting the energy
Okay.
before it manifests as a disease,
As a yeah.
or as a physical unwanted or undesirable manifestation in the external
Mm.
reality,
So you
right?
catch it while it's still only on an energetic level, and you heal that. Well, ideally, I mean, sometimes it's already
Right.
manifested physically, right?
So
Yeah.
if it's manifested, then you would, yeah, I would basically um like transmute it, like change it from that dense state into a lighter energy,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, and I remember actually, yeah, when I did energy work on it. um,
Yeah, and just oh yeah, I'm not even gonna go into what you saw, but yeah, it was crazy. I was thinking, but it made sense. That's the thing. It made sense because that was because you mentioned something about my solar plexus that it was blocked or something, right?
mhm.
And yeah, that was like a point. That was during that time. I was feeling very sort of my self confidence was down and all that stuff, and there was just a lot, and generally just my gut. I knew that there was something wrong with my gut altogether.
Right. Yeah, because
So
it would trickle down into maybe for example, like usually a lot of people kind of like give their power away to, for example, like institutions,
yeah.
anything in society. For the most part, most people do it unconsciously,
Yeah.
right? And it kind of like you can see it being linked to the whole gut thing as well, right? Certain foods that we may eat that may not be empowering us at all, but stripping us of our power, right? Again, in the energy, some people you eat certain food and you will feel lethargic, you will feel
Yeah.
bogged down, heavy.
Straight away. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Certain foods will create certain levels of stress within the system, knowingly or unknowingly, right? For example, like certain meats or certain animals that we may eat, not all, right? I I don't cry down people for eating meat and stuff, but
Yeah.
um like for example, like certain you see like some of these slaughterhouses and stuff, like the way how they treat certain animals, like a lot of the hormones and the fear that is produced before they die is released
Yeah.
within your body, and then you take it in,
Yeah.
and that is released or it expresses itself through you,
Yeah.
right?
So you're literally eating food that is contaminated with the energy of fear because that's
Right.
what they experienced when they died.
Right. And you would hear some people would get anxiety and stuff, anxiety attacks coming up after they eat certain foods.
Yeah.
For example.
Have you ever eaten meat before?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. But you
Um,
notice it when you've eaten meat that's kind of
yeah, even like recently, I do certain experiments with certain things. So I started actually creating something called Ormus, which is like monoatomic gold. We would have to go into that in a
another
different
time.
right?
Yeah.
But what I know what it does essentially is that it kind of like balances the system, the
Mm,
body,
yeah.
right? And what I noticed is when I basically essentially had to like for the sake of science and experimentation, I started eating again. I reintroduced certain foods back into my system, right? To actually notice the difference in consciousness,
Okay.
right?
That's
And yeah, right. So I noticed when I ate certain food, like certain meats. I mean, I don't go too deep into the meat though. Like maybe just chicken, the lighter ones, chicken, fish.
yeah.
That's it for me. I don't go into the beefs and stuff, but
Mm,
chicken for sure. I noticed like yeah, like I could feel the the different layers of consciousness like shifting within my own energetic field as it passed through my
really?
system.
Oh wow. How,
Yeah.
so what was
Huh?
the difference? What did you feel when you
Like certain emotions would come up that wouldn't usually come up if you're like just eating veggies or like certain like foods, because again, like when you eat certain foods, okay, so I notice emotions exist within a spectrum, right? So if your body's frequency like is at a particular frequency, for example, like you come out of like the water, the head above water, like it's easier for you to maintain certain frequencies, right? Like
Yeah.
love, bliss,
Mm.
higher, we would consider the higher frequencies. But I noticed like if your body is like you subject your body to like certain stuff that may lower the frequency of the body or slow down the frequency, you would experience certain yeah, like emotions, like maybe like anger, for example.
Ah, okay, because it takes you down back to that level, isn't it? The lower vibration. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right. So for sure. I noticed, yeah, when I ate certain foods, I would notice like certain emotional responses coming up or surfacing
Yeah.
um from actually processing those foods, because our guts already like a big processing machine, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, totally. Oh, wow, that's really interesting.
yeah.
Um, so how do you feel after you've done this like big diet and the healing of the gut? Do you feel very different compared to before?
Yeah, completely like solid is the best way I could describe it. Like I feel like my shields, my consciousness is completely clear.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to like tap into certain frequencies to meditate. Um, Before, like I would get like the like starting out meditation, like I would get like you would have to like clear thoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
Now is like I just sit down and I just in my mind like intend to meditate and gone.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
right.
that quick. Wow.
Yeah, quick. And like most of the information within my mind, like I kind of feel like I don't even necessarily like feel like I have a lot of stuff in my mind. Like it feels out there somewhere,
Mm. Like you're
right?
not attaching to it. Is that what you mean? You're not attaching
Yeah,
to. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
right. So it would only come up if, for example, you asked me a particular question, but it's never really like floating around in my physical brain.
Ah, okay. So you don't have all these like negative, repetitive thoughts that keep,
Right. Nah.
you know, stopping
It's,
you from doing whatever you're doing. They're
nah.
just kind of there, but you're not
Yeah.
attached.
My mind is just clear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And at first, like I started to get kind of like I guess it was kind of strange. It was a strange feeling to experience in the beginning,
Yeah.
right? Uh I guess like I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones with the guy Bran Stark.
Okay. I never really got into that. I've seen a few episodes, but yeah,
So, okay, so it's like a kind of like at one with um again it's a very interesting feeling. Some people call it no mind, right?
no
Where like
mind.
you don't experience you're in a complete observation mode basically.
Ah, okay. So look, kind
Just
of like the consciousness of you more.
yeah, you just observe on a soul level like emotions, situations that may arise.
Mm.
You can choose to play in that game, right? Or you can just observe it,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Uh yeah, and it comes with practice, and it comes easier when you actually like practice meditation, which actually harmonizes the two hemispheres of the brain.
Mm.
uh I do a particular session where I actually assist with the harmonization of the body in itself, the masculine and the feminine
Okay.
aspect, and join them into one. And that is where the crystalline
Mm.
nature or the crystalline living comes in,
Ah,
right?
Okay,
with the
yeah.
harmonization of the two.
Yeah.
Blend the masculine and the feminine together, the action and the right
Yeah.
stillness.
Yeah, because I think, yeah, because a lot of people, most of the energies within people, they're very imbalanced, isn't it? They have one of each, but not too much of the other one.
Right. Yeah.
It's really
And a lot of people, a lot of the society is more masculine, dominant, right? And they kind of like discard or like suppress the feminine energy, which is linked to like art and intuitive, senses and creativity and
Yeah.
right? And that's a power in itself,
Mm.
right? In the past, like our consciousness, our minds used to like the logical side used to basically take orders from the intuitive or the feminine nature, right?
Yeah.
And
Now it's the other way around.
yeah, right. And sometimes is even like some people don't even have the right brain active at all. Like
Yeah. Do you see that a lot?
um yeah, I actually noticed some people don't have the ability to visualize at all.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, like at all.
wow.
And it
That's sad.
yeah, it kind of yeah. Yeah, like at all, they don't have that connection with their intuitive sense, with their imagination.
Mm.
I think some people call it split brain, basically,
Mm.
where you don't have the right brain isn't active. Like some people can function without it.
Mm. But I guess it wouldn't be recommended, right? It's not really.
Uh, Again, there's a balance
Mm.
within it all. So like you would hear now, more especially in the spiritual community too, about like light and dark and stuff like that. And uh, it's kind of like I noticed like a lot people kind of stray into like the two extremes is either all dark or
Yeah.
all light, and it
Yeah.
just right instead of like kind of like blending or braiding the two.
Yeah. It's
And
about both. Yeah. Because I
yeah,
guess in reality, no one is ever just good or bad, isn't it? Everyone has a bit of both, and it's about
right.
how do you
So
work with
when
them.
you blend the two together, they don't you notice that like they either exist harmonically or simultaneously together as one, because
Yeah.
that's what the oneness or the unity
Of the
is
two.
essentially why we're here to kind of like work on that. It's
Yeah.
not really about like vanquishing the darkness and it's to kind of like bring everything into unity or
Mm.
basically harmony
Yeah.
within self first.
Yeah, which again is kind of the typical programming that we've been exposed to, isn't it, from the society and from films? Like,
Yeah,
you have the
the
hero who's
hero, the
so good
villain,
and he
right?
fights against the darkness. That's just oh bad. That's just so
Yep,
that's
yep, yep,
completely messed us up, hasn't it? Because
yep.
it's complete. It's made us reject anything within you that's dark. That's kind of it has that aspect of darkness or you know I mean we always think of it as evil but it's not necessarily evil, it's just like everyone has shadows aspects of themselves but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I guess they call it the gray area or walk in the middle path,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so do you think true wisdom comes from like trying to walk in that middle path,
Mm-hmm.
like the silver lining, I guess?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Walk in the middle path, and I essentially believe that, or yeah, like I think they call it like neutral, the neutral zone.
The one in the middle basically.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about the chakra system because I find it really interesting and how just how it works and stuff. But tell me first about what are the most common things that you notice in people when you work on them? What are the most common problems that people have like today in our
Hmm.
kind of modern society when you tune in? What do you see?
Um, Chakra base. I notice like what's common is like a lot of trauma existing within, for example, like the root chakra. right?
Which is the lowest one, the one in the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, the base chakra. So that's associated with like survival. So you would get like a lot of like fear connected to that. Anything linked to like childhood, for the most part, is kind of like what I've noticed hermetically sealed within the first 7 years of our life within the root chakra, right?
Yeah.
The sacral chakra tends to deal with like the creativity, right? For women is the like womb area.
Yeah, and
Right?
sexuality as well. Also.
Sexuality, yeah. I've noticed like a lot of people have um, a lot of blocks within the solar plexus for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, right? Either the chakra is overactive or underactive, or sometimes completely offline.
Oh wow.
So you would get like a lot of like energy. I would find like a lot of like energy siphons coming from that area. A lot of like cords coming from situations.
Okay. So can
Right?
you explain? Can you explain that? Because I think most people wouldn't.
All right. So let me see the physical. Okay, so energetic cords would be, I guess, kind of like what um, Einstein talked about, like spooky action from a distance. So, which kind of like crosses between beyond space and time, essentially, from like experiences that we may have experienced in the past, right? Either if you believe in like past lives or in this incarnation of maybe our childhood, right? So, for example, maybe you, as a child, you maybe wanted to express something to like a parent,
Yeah.
right? And the parent doesn't, I guess, like acknowledge you or listens to you. They're busy doing something. It might be something like a small, well, what people might consider small, might be the biggest thing to the child, right? In terms of like somebody ignoring something that the child thought was amazing,
Yeah.
right? And that in itself created a trauma,
Yeah.
right, of rejection,
Yeah.
right? And now that is creating a block or like a cord between the the throat chakra of expression,
Yeah.
maybe the sacral and the root, right? And it's like if like a cord, an energetic cord is like attached to that situation or that scenario,
Yeah.
right? So certain cards would form. I kind of see them like the cards would form in like these. To be honest, like I see them in different like sizes. So they would get like they would be some cards would be thick, like really big,
Yeah.
and those would be like the most, I guess, like impacted
Like the most.
situations, like trauma or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. So the most traumatic memory that's attached.
Right.
Yeah.
That would form a bigger cord, and it would siphon, depending on the nature of the experience, would siphon energy from the chakra,
Yeah.
right?
So it's literally as in it's pulling energy, it's pulling your energy from the chakra. Okay. So that's literally draining you, right? It's draining
Right.
your energy
And
body.
you would notice physically as well, like some situations would constantly replay on your mind, right?
Yeah.
From a traumatic experience, and it would either depress some people or you would feel drained,
Yeah.
right? And that would be in itself an energetic cord,
Yeah.
right? So what I do in my sessions, I would, if I pick up certain energetic cords attached to people and the situation, I would essentially clear them from the root
Yeah.
of the actual situation,
Okay.
right?
So that trauma, you're basically trying to clear that trauma. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically repair that area of the chakra system, right?
Okay.
So then it would manifest physically as maybe it being it would maybe come up to be resolved, finally resolved, or it may disappear completely in terms of like not visiting your consciousness as much. Right?
Yeah. So it doesn't, as in, it's not in your mind anymore. It's not repeating constantly in your mind, kind of.
Right. Like
Yeah.
a loop, basically.
Like a loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you see those cords, so for example, say you tune into someone's energy body and you see that they have, you know, from their sacral chakra, they have all of these things coming out, you know, a lot of attachments, basically.
Yeah, attachments.
Yeah. Do you normally see anything else around that chakra? Because I'm guessing it affects the other ones and everything that's in that part of the body.
Yeah. So at times I would notice like some cords would actually siphon energy from not just the particular chakra that is mainly attached to. It would siphon energy from other chakras as well. So for example, maybe somebody had they ended a relationship, right? They had an argument. The argument went a particular way, which you would see people do it. Like some people would be in an argument and you would see one person doing this, like holding their stomach. They try to basically protect their energy from being drawn.
Yeah.
And there's like a kind of like a weird like feeling in your stomach, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel good. So you would see people doing this.
Like crossing their arms. Yeah.
So for example, say the person had an argument, maybe with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, they get basically energy siphoned or whatever the case may be. There's an attachment to that situation, to them.
Yeah.
They were attached because they loved each other, right?
Yeah, so they're already connected, right? They have this energy connection, yeah. So
it then has a connection now to the heart as well. So now this situation now not only draws energy from the solar plexus, but it draws energy from the heart chakra.
Yeah.
Right. And in some cases, I even saw like some of them drawing energy from all of them above. So it draw energy from their crown, the spiritual connection, where they doubt themselves now about certain things. It draws energy from their third eye, so they're not able to see certain things.
Oh, wow.
Whether it be spiritually or even physically, like they're not seeing certain situation as it truthfully is.
Yeah.
They're not able to express themselves, so the throat chakra then loses energy. Right, the heart chakra, they close their heart off because of that situation, and then the solar plexus, the willpower gone.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Boom. Right.
Wow.
And that creates all kind of things. So like, depending on how long the situation's been going on, how much the attachment is held on to, basically that could create all kind of different like scenarios and situations manifested in the physical reality, which may repeat itself constantly.
Like a cycle, yeah.
Right? Because then you may go into another relationship where the same situation happens again.
Yeah. Because it's literally you're drawing this into reality because it's still a trauma, right? So it's attracting the situation again.
Is an attachment is stuck in the cellular memory, so the DNA actually like flashes this situation out. So it's the same thing with the that article I saw you post sometime back about emotions. Scientists link emotions to the reality.
Our emotions create reality, yeah.
Right. And how they show you at the end of one of the experiments, they showed you how the DNA, right, was changing the light photons in a room.
Yeah.
Right? And we're surrounded by light photons. Like matter is created by light.
Yeah.
Right? Matter in itself is slowed down light.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Information.
Yeah.
So essentially our DNA, that they prove that our DNA alters the physical reality. And again, that's we link it back now to the transitioning through different timelines, right? Through what happens when we think a thought, our DNA changes based on the thought.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
and it sends a signal out. So our DNA not only receives information from our environment, it sends signals out to the environment,
To
right?
create it. Yeah.
So if you have like a traumatic experience, for example, through like the chakra system, which then feeds into the nervous system and right, the hormones and all that stuff,
Yeah.
you're essentially changing your DNA with certain experiences that we have, right? Certain attachments that we hold on to.
Yeah.
And this then creates a situation in our physical reality. So what's happening now with the energy coming in is that the energy is kind of forcing us to release, let go of certain things. These attachments that we hold on to in the cards and the chakras and stuff, these situations are coming up, right? And we're being faced with them,
Yeah.
right? And it's either we let go or we loop again,
Yeah.
right?
So
So
it's literally, your reality is literally a reflection of what's going on inside of you.
literally,
Yeah.
right? So so that's what I kind of work to like assist people in, like teaching them how to like release that stuff. And um in my German energy work, I would work on certain clearings, or like I'm actually recently now doing during these sessions I would do like a series of meditations where it kind of like empowers them
Yeah. The person.
to transmute or go through the process of transmuting the energy, right?
Yeah.
And these meditations would come up based on their energy and what they're going through at the time.
Yeah. So it's literally, you're tailoring it for the person
For
specifically.
them, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty, yeah. I definitely want one of those.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Oh my God. We've gone down so many rabbit holes today. And we can go down even more. But yeah, no, we definitely need to have another talk like this, because there's just too much information out there that we need to go over. But this is, I mean, even though I know a lot of this stuff already, I've kind of read about it, I still find it so hard to just wrap my head around this and just understand, to kind of integrate it into my own like reality, and really learn how it actually works. Because I think, because so many people, I mean, it's one thing is to learn it and read about it, and another thing is to actually integrate this knowledge in your life and live by this
and live it.
and live it, which is what you're doing.
For a while I went through phases of actually reading a lot of stuff, and I noticed like your soul you would get like this. Well, I noticed I would get like this oversaturated kind of feeling, like I don't want to read any more stuff. Like I want to like just
Too
take a
much.
break and go and and like I would notice like when I started to like kind of like connect to my higher self or my higher consciousness, and like speaking internally to self and asking to be shown certain lessons, certain realities, right?
Yeah.
You actually begin to like notice certain reflections, certain things in your reflected reality that actually teach you on so many levels. You meet people that and you interact with, and you learn things about them that teach you about things, teach you things about yourself, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what the crystalline living essentially is, like living a balanced state of being, right? And experiencing this reflected reality with your understanding that it is something that is created from within you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I've noticed it as well when even though because I'm so logical and I'm so rational and I love reading about things and learning about them, like, logically, and just understanding it I've noticed as well, the more when I do meditate a lot, which before I never used to, I would do it like once in a blue moon, but now I try to do it every day. And I have noticed that sometimes I just get this knowledge, instantly. You just get like, almost like, what we people call it, like a download. And you
Well,
just
yeah.
get this instant knowing. Like I'd ask a question when I'm in a meditation state, and I don't just try to quiet my mind and things. I actually think about things quite a lot when I'm in meditation. You know, it's not, for me, I don't know, for me it's not really about, I mean, it is about quieting the mind, but I also find that this is how I find out about stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I have a question, or I'll have an intention in my mind, and like I want to find something, and then, you know, I'll go into this meditation, and then it's almost like I'll try to connect with my higher self, and then I'll ask the question and I'll get it straight away, like boom, it's there. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so cool. It's like instant knowledge.
Yep. That's it. And
Yeah.
that's our OI. That's the personal Google.
Yeah, exactly. Your internal Google.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Yep.
good way to relate to, refer to
Yep.
it. Yeah, but I think it's really important, isn't it, for people to realize that the only um, research and doing all of that, yeah, that's really good and it's really interesting, but it's also just as important as doing your internal work and tuning in and asking yourself, your higher self, to give you the knowledge that you need.
Yeah. The best learning is learning from within self.
Mm,
Teaching, you're your greatest teacher
yeah,
at the end of the day.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only you know yourself the best, you know?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. No one knows you better than you.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so Jerome, do you have any practice that people who have listened to your amazing wisdom can kind of practice in their own life, or just something basic that they can integrate into their own everyday life that can make basically
Yeah.
allow them to tap into that?
Especially for the current times now with the energy. Um, let me see what comes up. All right, so what I would recommend is people, what I recommend is that if you could once a day, like close your eyes and begin to breathe deeply, right?
Okay.
And on the next exhale, visualize roots coming from the bottom of your feet and moving deep within the earth, connecting to like a giant crystal within the core of the planet. Many call this the crystalline core. And this crystal aligns with basically a primary ascension timeline of Earth, is the intention that you may hold behind connecting with this crystalline core. And as you feel into this reality and the reality of connecting to the crystalline core, allow the energy to come up from the core into your physical body. You can see it as waves in different rainbow colors, like a pearlescent color, moving into every cell of your body. And aligning you with the crystalline consciousness. And now visualize from the top of your head coming down is a golden light, golden energy moving in to the top of your head, into the center of your brain, and moving down your spinal column. Feel this energy lighten up every organ, every gland, every cell as it mixes with the crystalline energy. And allow these two energies to expand throughout your entire body into your aura. With the intention of unification and alignment with self, expanding abundance, joy, peace, bliss, harmony, unity, Christ. Springing forth from within, out into your reflected reality. And so it is.
And so it is. Wow. Oh, wow. It's weird because you actually feel the energy in the room change, like the energy around you.
Yeah. So one of the tricks is with that, like you can expand that to the entire world, essentially. It's basically you're reprogramming. The longer you hold that frequency, you're reprogramming your entire reality, right? And aligning with the Christ, basically the crystalline consciousness.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
that was so powerful. I'm actually so much more relaxed now. You know, we should have done that in the very beginning because now I feel like I'm ready to start.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah,
No,
maybe we
thank
could
you.
probably do a like a, yeah, the next show could,
Yeah.
meditation or.
Yeah, no, but it's so good because it literally you can feel it just realigning you and just making you feel a lot more grounded and just centered.
Yeah.
That's the main feeling that I get. Yeah. And
Because
yeah, go on.
essentially connecting to the crystalline core or the planet in general basically provides like a it's like if you're like it's like if you have a computer and you plug it back into the the internet. You
Yeah.
basically like get the updates, like pending updates coming back in and stuff like that. So it's like that.
Yeah, all the uploads that need to happen. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
downloads. Yeah,
Yep. All
yeah.
the uploads and downloads.
That's a good way to think about it. Yeah. Okay, so if people were to do this technique daily, then you can pretty much guarantee that they'll see a difference, right? Whether it's physical, energetic, emotional. Yeah.
It should help stabilize some of the energies that would be coming up from within the body, right? From within the DNA, and it would open up the senses a little more as well too, to certain energies, and you would start to see your reality shift.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, Jerome, thank you so much. This has just been, I mean, it's beyond amazing. I can't even describe. Yeah, there's just so many. You're just like a world of knowledge that you have within yourself. It's just, yeah.
It's been an honor to be here chatting.
So where can people find you if they wanted to look you up?
So you can find me where I'm most active is on my Facebook page, right? Unified Energetics. I even have.
I know. I noticed the shirt. Very nice.
I have a Patreon actually. I started up.
Yeah.
Which is Unified Energetics as well.
Unified Energetics.
And I have a podcast. I actually started just little insights and stuff.
Yeah.
While I'm out and about, just doing the recordings and stuff. Called Krystaline Living.
Okay. Perfect. So
right?
people can also listen to you on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So.
Perfect. Okay. So Unified Energetics and the Crystalline Living on podcast. Okay. Brilliant. And you also have a YouTube page as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, unified energetics
Unified
as well.
energetics. Okay, brilliant. All right, Jerome, thank you so much for your time today. This has been absolutely incredible, and we have to continue this conversation. I know this is definitely not the last time we'll be speaking.
Sure.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.